Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I frequently get asked by a lot of guys, hey, could a novice lifter start Conjugate, like a late novice, someone who's run some LP and they've stalled? And I would say yes, but the caveats would be, number one, they need to know how to box squat correctly. And if you haven't watched my box squat tutorial and you cannot follow it perfectly, and when you video yourself it doesn't look exactly like my box squats there, then I'm going to say no, you can't run Conjugate. If you can, and you can box squat exactly like I display, and you can sumo deadlift exactly like I show in the sumo deadlift video, then you could probably run Conjugate as a late novice. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I think that's where people get this confused, and I'll just throw out a sample template here. And I could write 6 different ones of these. In fact, I'll probably make 5 or 6 different versions of this video over time. It wouldn't be difficult for you to make gains. What do I mean? You would need a max effort bench day, max effort squat and deadlift day, dynamic effort bench day, dynamic effort squat and deadlift day. You don't need much complexity. If you're a late novice, you have the same weak points everyone else does. Alright? You need to just get bigger and stronger overall. You don't have individual weak points. I would pay extra attention to the things that probably matter. So what would I recommend? Alright, I would recommend, just to make sure that your rear delts and your tricep tendons and elbows get strong, I would say you need to do face pulls and band press downs every day. Every day, 7 days a week, or at least most days. At least 2 sets. Okay? There, now we've covered your rear delt and tricep work. We covered all of it that a late novice could possibly need. What will we do for everything else? Well, max effort bench day. Guys say, well, I don't have bands or chains. So what? I have advanced lifters who don't have bands and chains who run Conjugate. You think you're special? Like, do you really think you're a unique snowflake? Come on, you're not. Your mommy lied to you. Now, back over to the point. You could hit a max bench 2 weeks in a row. Right? As a late novice, you could do the same lift 2 weeks in a row. In fact, you probably should. You don't have to rotate it every week. Max out on bench the first 2 weeks. Flat bench. Max out on floor press for 2 weeks. Okay? You have access to all that. Max out on a dead pen bench 2 weeks. Or an incline if you don't have a good way to do dead pen. I would prefer the dead pen. And a lot of my guys hate it. They're like, I don't want to do this lift. I'm like, shut up and quit being a pussy. So, there you go. 3 different lifts. You can rotate them. You got 5 weeks between. You could probably come up with another press if you needed to. If you had a spotter, you could max on a decline. Find a way to max on a one board. If you needed a 4th press to give yourself a little break, but I'd say for the novice, just those 3. Those 3 will be fine. Flat bench 2 weeks. Floor press 2 weeks to a max. Dead pen bench, an inch off your chest 2 weeks. Yes, that means you start with it on the safety arms already. You don't lower it to them. You do that after you lock it on the max. You lower it under control. About squat and deadlift day. You do an inch below parallel box the first 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks you could max on a sumo. Next 2 weeks you could max on a high box an inch or 2 above parallel. Next 2 weeks you could max on a deficit deadlift and then repeat the rotation. You got 8 weeks of maxes, 4 exercises. Easy. Do you need any bands or chains or anything for that? No. And a novice, we don't worry about stalling as quick. You should be able to PR those every time we do it. In those rotations, every lift I listed, you should be able to get a 5-pound PR. Every time you do them if you're truly a late novice. Okay. What about speed days? Take 60% of your max on week 1 of the bench press. Do 10 triples with it. As fast and explosive as you can. It needs to be speed work. You need to explode violently. Week 2, 65%. Week 3, 70% reset. I say, but what if I'm at the same weight and I repeat the same wave? So what? So what? So after that 6 weeks, you'll be bigger and stronger, and then you'll up it after that. Get out of this stupid novice mindset. If you're not adding weight to the bar every time, then you're not progressing. This is speed work. Lose your goofy ass novice mentality. Same guys worrying about their 5 rep max. No one gives a shit. Your 1 rep max is how you judge strength. Right? Get these silly notions out of your head. Do exactly what I just told you to do, and you won't have problems. What about supplemental work? Well, actually, we need to come over to the boxes and everything. All right, box squat for speed squat. Exact same thing. Make sure you're an inch below parallel, preferably 2 inches below parallel. To do our speed work off of a deep box, you need to work on getting as wide of a stance as you can. Your speed work, you need to work on getting your feet all the way out, the edges of the racks. Learn to sit back correctly. 10 doubles. 10 sets of 2 with 60% of your max. Okay. How about the speed pulls? Sumo deadlift for the first wave. You can switch to a deficit if you want. You could do a 1 inch or a 2 inch deficit conventional deadlift in place of it. Either one works. Or you could alternate them if you wanted every wave. 10 singles. Notice this gives us 30 reps for both speed days. 30 bench, 20 squat, 10 deadlift. We get 30 on both days. Same workload. 60% 1 rep max for week 1. 65% for week 2. 70% for week 3. Explode violently. Well, what about supplemental work? Well, you don't need a lot of supplemental work on speed days, do you? No, probably not. So let's talk about max effort. We'll get to those days next. 3 sets of closed grip bench press pretty much to failure limit sets. Okay, 3 sets. 10 reps is a good. 3x10 works great on your max effort bench day. You're a late novice. You need more than that. You hit a max. You do 3 sets of limit sets on closed grip, you're good. You're getting your other tricep work in. Do a bunch of upper back work. Probably 5 sets for your upper back would be wise on this day. You could do pendlay rows. You could do inverted rows. You could do incline dumbbell rows with both arms at the same time. None of this one arm stuff. Do not do one arm back exercises. Let me catch you doing that shit. Do 2 arms on the dumbbell. Right? Any of those 3. Rotate through them as much as you want. Some guys will be more fatigued and can handle the pendlay rows. The whole point here, though, is that we want to work the upper back. No, you can't do chin-ups and make it substitute. You'll end up weaker. If you do chin-ups or pull-ups in place of these, do not complain when your bench press and your squat suck. When you can't stabilize the bar on a squat because you're all lat with no upper back, or you can't stay tight and explode out of the bottom of a bench because you chose to do chin-ups and pull-ups instead, it's your own fault. I told you not to do it. You want to do some chin-ups on your off days for fun, go ahead. They're not the best way to get strong. And I think they're great exercises. Maybe some other shoulder work. Some lateral raises, some wide grip upright rows, whatever you can do without hurting yourself. Again, that will also help build the upper back. Shoulders and upper back, that matters a lot. Do that on those days. How about the max effort squat and deadlift? Good mornings. 10s, 15s, whatever. Make sure they're full range of motion. Make sure you're getting progressively stronger. 3 to 5 sets of good mornings. Maybe some extra glute and hamstring work. If you wanted to do some glute bridges, you could. You want to do some hamstring curls. If you have access to a reverse hyper or a glute ham raise, that would be a good point to add them in. Be a real good idea. Do more upper back work. I gave you 3 exercises. Do them again. on this day, right? Do them on the same day. Preferably some Pendlay rows so you train your lower back isometrically. You didn't work it that hard. You only did one max. Dynamic effort bench day. We don't need the closed grip pressing. We just did 10 sets of speed bench. Do the upper back and shoulder work that I just listed. Dynamic effort squat and deadlift day. You just did a ton of work. Do 5 sets of good mornings. If you have anything left in the tank, some upper back work or abs, and go home. That's it. It's that simple. That will take a late novice deep into intermediate with no other changes in their programming. That by itself right there. That's all you need. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.